The question about whether the budget has done enough in your view through the changes in the income tax structure to be able to generate demand, because the counter can be that 20,000-30,000 crore rupees is too small a penny in the larger economy to actually be able to stimulate demand.
Okay, Rahul, the issue of consumption is really linked to two factors. One is, do people have money to buy what they need? And second is really on the creation of jobs and empowerment of people, because that of course lifts sentiment, and also it creates an enduring income stream, right? It's a combination of those two. Now the income tax deals with the first. Immediately there is some money flowing back into the hands of people, and naturally, because people have not been able to buy what they wish to buy because cost of goods has gone up, so I'm sure that will give some impetus to the consumption. But the bigger is that the whole idea about spurring economic activity, because ultimately that is what is going to give the continued stream of incomes, and that is, I think, what has been the focus of the budget. And it's not just manufacturing, and manufacturing has been there through focus in the past also, but look at some of the newer things that have come today. I think it's a great idea to promote tourism. 50 model locations being developed, and being developed in a focused and integrated fashion, so that the resources are not kind of dispersed, and all facets being looked at. And look at the multiplier effect of tourism. It creates individual entrepreneurs, it provides jobs to small and micro enterprises, it creates infrastructure jobs, private investment, because the hospitality assets will be built. So these are the kind of things that will really propel and put the economy on a stronger foundation.
One of the other big focus areas was the whole semiconductor space, and you are personally driving that. Now there are two concerns. One, how soon do we begin to see the results of the effort that's being made, where some of these schemes lead to actual manufacturing in India? B, at this time there's a global glut in the semiconductor market, there is excess capacity, and therefore by the time our chips are ready, the generation of those chips, and a lot of this is primed for export. Given that there is already a glut, where do our semiconductors, once they are finally manufactured, really stand globally?
First of all, Rahul, it's not as simple as just setting up a plant and making it and exporting it. The semiconductor argument is more to do with geopolitical, economic security, rather than just setting up a factory and looking for a market to market the wares of that factory. So I think, first of all, you have to separate the semiconductor argument from any other factory argument. I heard Raghuram Rajan's waxing eloquent in Davos about all of that on your show. So
plug for our show. That's fantastic. Well done, Minister. You're watching absolutely the right content.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Go for it.
So look, semiconductor is a long game. We are, again, like I said in the previous context, we are making up for several decades of lost time, and we are where we are. So we have to see this as a slightly longer term process. There are core technologies involved that are in the hands of a few companies in the world who are not right now in a mood to just give it over to anybody and say, come eat my lunch. So this is a careful, calibrated, long game, and we are very confident that we will get there. We will have a fab in India at some point. I don't want to say it's tomorrow, or I don't want to say it's day after tomorrow, etc., etc. But certainly in the other as critical areas of semiconductor, which includes original device design, which is the actual chip design, and the packaging, you will see announcements and results very, very soon. So semiconductor is part of our overall ambition as a nation to become a trusted player in the global electronics supply chain, as the Honorable Prime Minister said in 2021 in the World Economic Forum Virtual Summit. And electronics represents a big opportunity for us. It is an opportunity because there is a China plus one that is underway. China happened to dominate the electronic supply chain by 60, 65, 70% of the $1.5 trillion global trade in that. And India is slowly and significantly catching up and becoming a significant player in that. So semiconductor is part of that overall strategy, but you will stay tuned is what I would say.
Sure. So we're expecting some big announcements you're indicating soon. I won't press you on more. Maybe once the cameras are off, I will. But Dinesh, the concern there though is that a lot of the current impetus naturally is on electronics, semiconductors, etc., where the employment prospects aren't quite as much. And you've got a young population at this moment looking for employment opportunities, and where we are seeing investments aren't necessarily labor-intensive jobs, labor-intensive sectors. Is that something that concerns you?
I think no, for two reasons. I mean, if you focus on manufacturing and make sure that you're kind of, the lag will be the job creation. And yes, there would be a few sectors which are, I would call it capex heavy, but let me give one example, supply chain, right? I mean, the focus on reducing cost of logistics has been something which I think right from the Prime Minister level has been driven.
How effective has it been so far, according to you?
I mean, I think there are two aspects to it again. One is the investment in infrastructure, which I think has to precede that. But the second is the focus on making sure you are getting the integration done across all modes of transport, getting one, I would call it, integrated database, which I think is also a focus in this budget. So I think if you go back and look at it, sectors like those will be where you will actually start seeing significant jumps in employment. And I think developing the skill or the new age skills for that, I think is the core focus.